All right, hello, and welcome to Hanging Out with Bob, podcast hosted by me, Bob Edholm. Thanks for joining us, and let's get started. Hanging Out with Bob is a podcast where I let my guests tell us their stories, where they grew up, where they've lived since then, what they're doing now, what are their pleasures, what do they like to do, as Sheriff Bart said, the Waco kid in his jail cell.
I'm not sure you want me to share that.
Probably not the same interest, but that's what we'll go with. Okay, with that, let me introduce my guest today. You heard him just for a second there. It's Tom Madigan. We've known each other since the mid-'70s. We didn't grow up in the same towns or attend the same schools growing up, but we've known each other for about a half century. So I think it's safe to say that we are, as Carl Spackler said to Ty Webb and Caddyshack, buddies for life.
Absolutely.
Now, it's funny, even with a good, solid Irish name like Madigan, I don't think I've ever heard anyone address Tom as Madigan, like in, hey, Madigan, how's it going, Madigan, that kind of stuff. Not on the golf course, not at a Gopher football game, not on the basketball court, or virtually any kind of get-together we've had over the years. So at some point in his life, his last name was morphed into Mad Dog. I'm sure it's a reference to the wrestler Mad Dog Vachon. And then just plain Dog. So during this podcast, if you hear me calling my guest Dog, it's not a term of derision, okay? So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us on this podcast, Dog. I'm going to step back for a few moments now, and I'm going to let my guest, Tom Madigan, in his own basso profundo voice, that's Italian for deep bass, now I'm going to have him tell us a little bit about himself. Before I get started, our listeners should know that Tom loves to play golf. So here's one for you. Why did a golfer wear two pairs of pants?
I have no idea.
In case he got a hole in one. Okay. All right. So with that,
I've never had one, unfortunately.
Yeah. But you still bring two pairs of pants, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Just in case. So take it away, Dog. It's yours. Tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Bob. It's really great to be here. I grew up in Waseca, southern Minnesota. My parents, my dad worked for the railroad. My mom worked at home. And my dad was a railroad engineer for 38 years. I've lost my parents, 1990 was when my dad passed, and my mom died in 91. My dad died of a heart attack. My mom died of ovarian cancer the following year. So it's been a long time I've been without family down there, but I just celebrated my 50th class reunion down there. I got the honor of being a master of ceremonies for it. It was a lot of fun. Had a really good time. It was a great turnout, a lot of people there. But I grew up there, and then I went to Winona State, and that's where you and I connected, was at Winona State.
That's right.
I went there for 2 years, did some pre-engineering there. I'm a civil engineer by education, and then transferred up to the University of Minnesota, where you also went, and finished up my degree there. And after about 4 or 5 years, I ended up going to University of St. Thomas and got my master's in business administration from St. Thomas and St. Paul.
Yep.
And did that, and worked as a civil engineer, primarily as a city engineer, public works director around the Twin Cities area. I started out at the city of Columbia Heights, another connection for the two of us.
Yep.
Lived in Columbia Heights for several years after we connected through Nate Pafko. Nate was at Winona State with me. Nate died, unfortunately, of cancer back when he was, 23?
Oh, just a kid. Just a
kid. Nate and I got to be really good friends down at, and obviously he connected me with you and your brother Dave and a lot of the other guys. Randy Borchert was also down at Winona State and got to meet Randy, and was also from Columbia Heights. So that's my connection to you guys, and we, like you said, we've been friends a very, very long time, and so I worked as an engineer in the Twin Cities. I worked in my hometown. I worked quite a bit in southern Minnesota on different projects, and like I said, I started out as assistant city engineer at Columbia Heights and did that for several years. So that's kind of my background. Right now I'm doing, I'm an adjunct professor for, of all places, University of New Mexico. My wife and I lived there for 8 years, bought a house there after I retired from full-time
Santa Fe.
work in Santa Fe.
Yep.
And did that, and still doing it. My course has always been online, so I teach spring semester. As I just finished my 7th year this spring, and I'll start into my 8th year next winter.
Wow, nice. Okay, thanks, Dog. Okay, again, the name of the podcast is Hanging Out with Bob. I'm your host, Bob Edholm, and my guest today is Tom Madigan. a.k.a. Dog. Okay, now that Tom Madigan has told us a little bit about himself, I want to learn just a little bit more about his hometown, Waseca, Minnesota. When I looked up Waseca on Wikipedia, it stated that Waseca is about 80 miles or so south of the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And the name itself, Waseca, is a Dakota language word meaning rich in provisions. Did you know that?
No,
I wouldn't have known.
I did not know
Had
that.
I not looked it up, I wouldn't have known. But I actually want to hear more about you, Dog, in your own words, what it was like for you to grow up in Waseca. Tell us about the places where you and your friends would hang out, what you did during the summer times, the different seasons, skated, swam, played baseball, that kind of stuff. What was Waseca like in the 60s and 70s?
Well, I want to clarify one thing just to give you a little background, because Mad Dog, that story came from, I had a first cousin, Frank Madigan, that was a year older than me. And Frank Madigan, Mad Dog, that's really where it came from.
It wasn't the wrestler.
No,
Okay.
it was not. He had a couple of close friends that ended up going to Winona State too. And they called him Mad Dog because one of the guys that went to Winona State was Moondog.
Okay.
And you can kind of consider the reference to what they were talking about with Moondog and that whole story about, pulling down your pants and mooning somebody. So that's where that came from. And because I went to school with those guys, went on to state, obviously you guys picked up that they were calling me Mad Dog.
Right.
And that's how that came about.
Yep.
Waseca, back then it was about a town of 5,000. It was a railroad town, an agricultural town for the most part. I grew up not too far from the University of Minnesota Waseca campus back then. Now it's a medium security women's prison, I think now.
Yeah.
But we were just a couple blocks from there, and we used their facilities all the time. I played baseball probably 3 times a day. I'd go in the morning, play ball, come home for lunch, and then go back and play ball in the afternoon, and come home for dinner, and then go back and play in the evening in the summer. And so I was really active in sports. I mean, you could ride your bike and get around anywhere in town. You felt very comfortable going. I played some golf. I started playing golf when I was like 12. And I'd throw the clubs on my back and ride my bike all the way out to the golf course, which is on the other side of town. But it's not that far in a smaller town, so it wasn't that far to go. It wasn't like in Columbia Heights or someplace where you're going into Minneapolis.
Lakeville to Ham Lake.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I did. I played a lot of sports. Wasn't particularly good at anything, but I really enjoyed playing. I still do. Obviously, I play golf. I just finished. I'm playing up at Bunker Hills in the Senior Golf League up there in Coon Rapids. Just played yesterday morning, and it's been a lot of fun. I ran into 2 guys yesterday I played with. They were from Otana, of all things, so I got a chance to connect with those guys, and
cool.
that was really fun. So I'm meeting a lot of guys and doing a lot of stuff there. But it was a safe town. I had a lot of family there. My neighborhood, we could put 2 baseball teams together. Different ages,
Right.
but all similar ages. And so we could put 9 on 9 on a field, and like I said, we'd use the University of Minnesota fields, and we played football over there. Everything was there.
And just to clarify, these weren't organized leagues. These were
No.
what we call
These are just
sandlot,
pickup. They're just sandlot.
which doesn't
pickup.
exist anymore.
No. And it's
Show me a
sad.
ballpark with kids playing baseball anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's an organized thing and their parents are yelling at the umpire.
No doubt about it, Bob. It's sad because kids today can't organize themselves like we could.
Yeah.
We could put team, and we had to communicate and pick sides, and we had to negotiate that.
Yeah.
And that skill is not there anymore either.
already done
the
for them
ability
now,
to
so-
negotiate. So
Yep.
It was really good and a lot
No
of fun.
uniforms.
No uniforms, heavens no. Although I played summer league and we got a T-shirt.
Yeah.
For summer
I did
league
that too.
for baseball.
But the pickup games that was the rule. I mean, that's what you did. So,
Yeah. So that's kind of my experience in Waseca. Good place to grow up.
Yeah.
Good place to grow up.
I never did see your actual neighborhood there. When we were down there back in the mid-'70s in a softball tournament, I never saw where you lived. But describe your neighborhood. Was it was your folks' house a new house or new development?
My grandmother, I grew up right next door to my dad's mother, my grandmother. She had a double lot, and the lot that we built her house on was her garden. So my dad bought the lot for my grandmother right after I was born.
Okay.
And they built a brand new house in 1956 on that lot, and that's where I grew up. And we were 4 doors from Birdseye, General Foods plant.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was the big business
Employer.
Employer.
Yeah.
I did a couple stints there. I worked Pea-Pack, where they were getting peas, and then I worked at Corn Pack as well, where they're
Is that
processing
still
corn.
there?
Yes, it is.
Because I buy bird's eye all the time, frozen vegetables.
It is.
So, wow.
I don't. It went to Dean Foods for a while.
Okay.
And I think it might have gone back to Bird's Eye again. I'm not sure about that. They also made Cool Whip there back in the day.
Okay.
So I don't know if they still do that there anymore or not. Like,
Interesting.
like I said, I'm disconnected from the town now.
Yeah,
There's nobody
it's
there
not
that I
get
know
down
anymore,
as much
but
as it is.
other than going down for my reunion.
Yeah. Your neighborhood or that area down there, I mentioned in the previous podcast that the house where my brothers and I grew up in Columbia Heights was actually a golf course until the mid-1940s.
That's right.
It's Hilltop Golf Course. Do you know the history of your land, or was it just kind of farmland and like Bird's Eye and that stuff?
As far back as I am aware of, it was been housing. I mean, my grandmother's house was very old.
Okay.
Next door.
So it'd been there for a while,
it was housing a long time.
Yep.
I grew up, there was 2 tracks that crossed each other, and railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And I was a block basically from each track.
Oh, boy. So you heard trains all the time?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time, trains.
Yep. Okay, well, great. Thanks for listening. All right, again, the name of the podcast is Hanging Out with Bob. I'm your host, Bob Edholm, and my guest today is Tom Madigan. You talked about growing up in Waseca, but talk a little bit more about once you finished graduating from the University of Minnesota and you started working up here. Talk about some of the fun places you remember going to during those years in the 80s and 90s, football games and that kind of stuff. Just kind of talk about the things that you did up here for fun and that kind of stuff.
I don't think I went to any of the sporting events when I was in college at the university.
Too busy studying.
Yeah, I was too busy studying
was
in
kind of my
engineering
deal, too.
school. But once I got out of college, we were going, and we never, Bob, you would go with us and a lot of the other guys, your brother and that. We never paid for tickets ahead of time.
Right.
There was always this one scalper, remember, at the football games at Memorial.
Sure. He always had tickets.
And we just waited till the game started.
Yep.
And then he was,
the price would go down.
The price would go down. Yeah, we were paying less
it.
than the face value of the tickets and going. And, we'd be at Stub and Herb's.
Mm-hmm.
That was our hangout, right? Stub and Herb's.
Great place.
And we did that, I just drove by there. I took my wife, Sandy, around there just last week.
Yeah.
Just to remember,
a
lot of thought and memories about
I'll have to go there again sometime.
We
it's
really
been years
need to.
for me, so
yeah,
it'd be fun to do
it
that.
would be fun. We need to make that happen. But that was and back when I moved, I came up in '76 to the university, and you go around the Twin Cities, it was a lot less crowded.
Yeah,
it really was. I remember going around the lakes, the chain, and there wasn't the traffic.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. It was a different time then. It really was.
Yeah.
But it was a fun time, too.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my experience. Once I got done with college, I took that job with Columbia Heights, and I got an apartment in Columbia Heights.
I remember that.
And it was a lower-level apartment, and lived there for several years. And then, if you remember back then, interest rates were like through the roof.
Yeah,
double
digits.
It was double digits.
Yeah.
And the federal government had a program that they would subsidize first-time homeowners with interest rates, and I got 11.9% interest rate.
You thought you were getting a deal, right?
Yeah, and because it was like 19%.
Yes.
It was ridiculous how high. And people today are worked up over, 6-7%? Oh, yeah, really?
I know.
Yeah, very different world. But yeah, so then I worked up here, and then we'd hang out on the weekends and hit different bars, and we'd go out to it was Garcia's out on 12.
Sure,
remember that?
sure.
And then Procnon, Maine, and that whole area was a lot of fun down there, and there's a lot of bars and restaurants in that area.
I just thought of another restaurant that we'd go to a lot because we'd play basketball. Talk about, it was called the Sunshine Factory.
Sunshine Factory
in New Hope. But
yeah.
talk about the Friday night hoops. We did that, a bunch of Heights guys, for at least 7-8 years.
Oh, yeah, it was a long time. And we were playing like twice a week, right? We were playing.
Oh, that's right. Brooklyn Center had a school.
Brooklyn Center had an elementary school. Was that Tuesday night we played there?
Yep.
And then Friday nights was over in Waseca Elementary, right?
Waseca Elementary, which is no longer there anymore. They've got townhouses
really?
built there.
I didn't realize that they had torn it down. Okay.
What I thought was so neat about Waseca is, one, the court wasn't that long. It was full court we'd play, but it was a shorter court. It wasn't NBA size.
Right.
But it had wooden floors.
Okay.
And it had a locker room. So, we'd get all sweated up, but then we could at least clean up afterwards. So.
Right.
And then go to the Sunshine Factory.
Well, the biggest moment for us is when in 1980, when hockey
yes,
games, U.S.
yes.
versus Russia.
Yep.
And we got the janitor who was working to pipe it in the
game.
court
Yeah.
for us to listen to.
Yep.
And that was just special. And then we went over to the Muni, I think, in
we went
Robbinsdale.
Yeah, it
wasn't
wasn't.
there
It wasn't.
I can't remember where that was.
I thought it was kind of on the way to Osseo or something, but it
could
was
have been.
packed. Well, yeah, because just for the benefit of people that don't remember or weren't around then, that game wasn't even televised live.
No.
It was on a radio station. KSTP picked it up, but it was actually a feed from like Canada. I mean, there was no importance on the game. They thought there's no way they're going to beat the Soviets. So,
Right.
but then they pull off the upset of the century. But when we went to that that bowling alley bar or whatever, as I recall, they replayed the game. So it's like
That's
we
right.
got to see
We got
the
to
whole
see
thing.
the
We
whole
knew the
thing.
outcome, but we
Yeah.
got to watch the game.
Yeah,
So
which was just special.
yeah, it really
we knew
was.
what was going to happen.
Yep.
Which even made it more special
But
because we
seeing
weren't
it-
sweating the game at all. It was
Right.
like, oh, we know what's going to happen.
just seeing it was so much fun. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, yep,
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good memory. Good. Thanks for bringing that up. As I mentioned at the outset, Doug, you and I have known each other for almost 50 years. Gerald Ford was president then.
Yeah.
And as you look back, I'm just wondering if there's, in the times we spent together, if you can think of one moment that still makes you laugh out loud. I'll share mine first, and maybe it'll spark a memory in your
Okay,
head.
sure.
It was in the spring of 1981. Okay. We were both in our 20s, and we had tickets for a North Star hockey game. It was against Calgary. It was in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we didn't drive ourselves to the Met Center though. We I can't even say without laughing. We met at the Columbia Heights Municipal Lounge,
Oh, yes.
the Muni, the powerhouse,
The powerhouse. Yeah.
and then we got on a school bus.
Yep.
But there's a whole bunch of fans that were getting on the school bus.
Yeah.
And I remember in the first row, remember what was in the first row of that bus? Keg.
Keg.
with complimentary plastic cups.
Yeah.
So people are, during the bus ride out to Met Center, walking up there.
And they were bringing their own booze on besides the keg.
It was just wild. And the people had had a few before they even got on the bus, and then going to the game, and then coming home, and they still had the keg. Do you remember that time the bus took a turn on 35, or it kind of goes east? And that guy was standing there by the keg, but he took the turn. The driver took the turn a little too hard, and he like smacked his head into the passenger window. But somehow he still had both hands of beer. He
He didn't spill anything.
Head first into the window, but he held on to that beer. So, that was just wild. So anyway, when I think about that, I started thinking about that and just laugh and remembering it. It's like,
What I remember is a trip you and I took out west.
oh yeah.
We went to Phoenix.
Yes.
And I had a college roommate that
Yes.
was in grad school.
Yes.
At Arizona State.
Yep.
And we stayed in the dorm with him. 'Cause
Yes.
He was in a dorm. Here, this guy's like, 23, 24
Right.
years old. He's living in a dorm. and oh my, and it was just
right.
wild.
Yep.
Just absolutely wild night. And then we drove, crossed over to L.A.
Yes, and that little Pinto we rented,
Yeah, we had a
little Ford Pinto.
that we had rented. And then we went and we went and watched basketball
Right.
at Arizona
in
State
Tempe,
in
yep.
Tempe, and it was the regionals, right?
Yes,
for
yes.
NC2A.
Yeah, it wasn't a 64 team tournament back then. It was half that size.
It was half that size.
So you didn't have to
Right.
play as many games to get to the Final Four, but still, it was an important. They were important. Every game was important.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So and we just walked up. We were over by the football stadium.
Yep.
And we just perchance walked over to the ticket office, and apparently one of the teams had returned some seats
Yep.
that weren't sold.
Yep.
And we were like, what, mid-court?
Really nice seats.
Like
We were-
17 rows
Yeah,
up, something
yeah.
like that. It was
Yep.
ridiculous
Yep.
seats.
Yep.
And very reasonable. And we watched both games. It was just incredible.
Yeah, it was UCLA upset DePaul in the
DePaul.
first game.
Right.
And then Ohio State beat Arizona State.
Arizona
'cause they were
State,
playing at home.
right.
But yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And NBC was doing the games back then, so we got to see Dick Enberg and Al McGuire and Billy Packer
Yeah.
later on the court. And
Yeah.
it was
It was
fun.
fantastic.
It was great.
It really
great.
was. And then, like I said, we drove out to L.A., and then I had a high school buddy that was going to UCLA.
Yep.
And we stayed with those guys, and that was just a crazy because we watched the UCLA play the next game.
Yeah.
with them.
Right.
And one of the guys jumped on a coffee table and smashed it into pieces because they won. And it was just nuts.
It was Ohio State, right?
Yeah, they beat Ohio State.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It was just crazy.
Yeah,
and there was so many laughs on that trip.
It was.
It really was.
I went to Disneyland even.
We went to Disneyland, and who did we run into at Disneyland?
Oh, Marty Feldman. Igor. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Oh,
just a great trip.
Great memory.
Yeah.
Great memory.
Yeah, for sure.
Hilarious. Again, the name of this podcast is Hanging Out with Bob. I'm your host, Tom. I'm your host, Bob Edholm, and my guest today is Tom Madigan, a.k.a. Dog. It's been over 20 years, Dog, since you've actually been a full-time resident of Minnesota. Just briefly talk about the places that you lived in the 21st century then.
Well, after I finished working full-time, and I was, 2016, I guess, was when I retired full-time. We moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico.
From Hudson, Wisconsin.
We sold our house in Hudson in 2015.
Yep.
And my wife and I we rented a apartment right across from the farmer's market.
Right.
In St. Paul.
Isn't it close to the ballpark, too, with the Saints?
Yeah, right. I mean, literally half a block
Yep.
from the Saints ballpark.
Yeah.
And we lived there for a year while they finished construction on our house. We built a brand new house in Santa Fe. It was out in the country. You've been there.
Yeah,
you were there.
Beautiful place. Yeah.
And so we built that place. So we lived in St. Paul for a year in that apartment, and then, we moved out and then moved down to Santa Fe, and we spent 8 years, almost 9 years there. Mm-hmm. And then, we moved to back here part-time where I'm in Blaine now. I have a townhouse in Blaine, and I have a townhouse in Gold Canyon, Arizona now. So we're Snowbirds. We split.
And Gold Canyon is a nice suburb of Phoenix area.
Yeah, very east side of Phoenix.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I walk 50 yards on a golf course down there. It's a really nice setup, and our place up here in Blaine is 3/4 of a mile from the TPC Tournament Players Course in Blaine. So really good spot, and we've got lakes and water. So I got water up here, and then I go down there, and I got desert in the wintertime and get out of the cold. So that's what we're doing.
It's virtually half and half, right? I mean, you're a resident of Arizona, but you spend the winter.
We're resident of Arizona. You got to be there 6 months in a day.
Yeah.
From a tax standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of half and half. Well, it's the best of both worlds. You get the nice weather here.
Yeah, so far so good.
So,
and we've got all of our family up here. I've got 3 granddaughters. I got a 10-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old granddaughter. My son and his wife are in Hudson. They still live in Hudson.
Basically the Twin Cities metro area.
And my daughter is in New Brighton.
Yeah. So if you got family here, so that makes sense.
Yep.
It's close. So, alrighty. All right. Well, last topic for this podcast, Dog. This has been fun. It's
Absolutely.
fun to do this, but I wanted to just ask you these can be just quick answer stuff. Tell me about your favorites while you were growing up. You and I are both boomers, and the things that we were interested in and liked to do and did. Younger kids today won't know what the heck we're talking about, but let's talk about it anyway. Like, what was your favorite TV show, or name one or two that you just remember watching when you were growing up?
Well, we watched MASH for sure.
Okay.
That was a great show. All in the Family back in the day, because it was ground setting, really. When you think about the topics and the things that were discussed on All in the Family, they're really strong back then.
I still watch it.
Do you really?
It's on No, it's on one of these Channel 9 stations.
Okay.
But it's on, they have back-to-back episodes weeknights, like from 7 to 8.
Yeah.
And it brings back memories watching it. I remember watching it. I remember when it was first on.
I remember when I was dating Sandy, my wife, Cheers reruns were on late at night. Mm-hmm. And, she was living in St. Paul, and I was living up in, Columbia Heights. And we'd be talking on the phone, watching Cheers together. Yeah. She'd have it on, and I'd have it on. Yep. So Cheers was another one. And then, I was out in L.A. I had a friend of mine in Santa Fe that belonged to Wilshire Country Club, and asked if he wanted to come out and play. And another buddy of mine from Denver, and I went out there, and we got a tour of Paramount Studios. And that's where Cheers was filmed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the story that their last filming, Woody Harrelson and Ted Danson stripped down naked, and it was at night.
Okay.
And they ran naked through Paramount Studios, through the streets of Paramount Studios. Crazy story. Yeah, Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Well, well, that's hilarious. I did not know about that. So, all right. What was your favorite band or bands? What did you
Well,
like
that's a
listening
hard
to?
one, Bob. I mean, I've got a lot of groups I
albums.
really like,
Yeah.
and I'd have to say probably Steely Dan. I've seen him twice in person. Just saw him back up to the Eagles here in Phoenix in January, and I tell you, the Eagles is up there too. Led Zeppelin, Chicago was a big band that I really liked a lot. I've seen them in person twice, so that's another band. But I'd have to say probably Steely Dan.
Okay. And then when you were growing up in Waseca, what radio stations could you pick up down there?
Well, I listened to the Twins obviously on
CCO. WCCO, yeah.
But WDGY back then.
You could get 11:30 a.m. down there?
Yeah,
Okay.
WDGY. Back after, in college and then after college, the station I really liked a lot was U100. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember
It was very
that.
eclectic.
It was like an alternative rock
It
station
really was.
on AM.
Yeah, it was but it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And there's a station in Santa Fe. I think I talked to you about it.
You've told me about it.
And it's called Radio Free Santa Fe. It's
sometimes listen to
98.5.
that.
And it's the same kind of music, very eclectic, just a broad
And it's not
spectrum.
predictable. It's like,
No,
you
no,
just
not
played
at all.
that 3 hours ago.
No, they'll play local groups.
Yeah.
And they'll play old stuff.
Right.
And then, it's alternative and it's really, really
Not a real
good.
structured format.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I love
Not
stuff
at all.
like that.
I love that so much. I actually went and got a T-shirt from them. I
nice.
don't really do that, but I did went and got a T-shirt from them.
No, that's
so
nice.
yeah,
That's nice. All right. Okay. Again, the name of this podcast is Hanging Out with Bob, and I'm your host, Bob Edholm, and my guest today has been Tom Madigan. As you've heard me call him throughout the podcast, Dog. This was fun, Dog. It's fun to look back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for.
I know we just scratched the surface of things that we can talk about, and I'm thinking ahead already. I know we can do an entire podcast, talk about just sports or
absolutely
music or movies, that kind of stuff, just to
Right.
name a few things.
right.
And while it's been fun that we're doing this here in Minnesota, here in the Heights, Columbia Heights, I'm looking forward to a remote podcast with you too. We can do that when you're down in Phoenix, and I can just hook up my phone and you can pick me up on your phone. We can do stuff like that.
Perfect.
And I was thinking maybe even recording a podcast down there next time.
That'd be great. Yeah.
I could put this stuff in a suitcase. I only need this little PodTrack 4 and a couple mics and headphones, and we can do it there. Give me another excuse to come down to Arizona, so we can do that.
Cold.
Yep, get out of the
Absolutely.
cold. So, again, I want to thank you again for joining us, Dog. It was really fun. So,
Thanks a lot.
and the fans loved it too. So, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. As I want to say again, I just want to thank you. I know you're going to be going back to Arizona probably next month.
October.
So I'm glad. October. Okay,
October.
so we got a little bit of time. I'm just
Yep.
glad we made time for this one today. So again, appreciate it. And I'm going to use this quote again, but as Carl said to Ty and Caddyshack, if you ever want to rap or just get weird together with somebody, buddies for life, right?
Sounds good.
All right,
Absolutely.
great,
Thanks,
great.
Bob. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, everyone has a story to tell, and I believe most people like to tell their stories, to talk about the things they like to do, the things that interest them. They just need to hang out with someone like me so they can be asked those kinds of questions, right? All right. I have so many friends in mind that I want to have on have as future guests. Family, friends, people I grew up with, people I worked with, people I've drunk beer with. To our listeners, again, thanks for hanging out with me, Bob Edholm. We hope you'll be back for our next episode. And until then, bye.